Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for the latest episode of the What Are We Watching podcast. Hey Carlin, what are we watching this week?
We are doing our Versus series with Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
That's right. Who will win, Mr. Rogers or Daniel Tiger? We'll find out in a second. Stick around!
Yeah, Carlin turns on the TV, Christian flips off the screen, cause there's no good children's shows that he's seen. We've got dogs with blogs, superheroes in the ER. All dads are dumb and kids have better PR. Carlin just smile, Christian sits with the scowl. He complains to his son, all the kids should suck now. They sit and discuss the show's plus and minuses while you listen or watch on YouTube to the arguments. Who is right? Is it the son or the dad? Either way you get to laugh knowing Christian is mad. So pull up a chair, get the corner poppin'. Here's a new episode of What Are We Watching?
All right, thanks again for joining us. How are you doing, Carlin?
Pretty good.
All right, it's getting ready to be Christmas break, right?
Yes, I'm excited.
We've got our fake Christmas tree up because...
Yes.
I mean, when some people say fake Christmas tree, they mean like a not real Christmas tree. We mean a fake Christmas tree.
Yes.
You know, because we have a 1-year-old at home and she's going to pull the ornaments off. 1-year-old babies are like dumb cats. They just hit shiny things and laugh at their own reflection. So we have a felt tree up that we just did as a project for Dad Sews, actually. That's up at dadsews.com. Cross-pollinate synergy. And now you're going to be going to school for what, a day and a half, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And then we're heading to the beach for Christmas. And some people would think, wow, that's weird. You're heading to a warm beach for Christmas, but it's going to be cold. It's going to be a cold beach. All right, so what did you want for Christmas this year, Carlin?
A pogo stick.
Yeah, well, it's likely not going to happen. No, I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll cross our fingers and ask Santa. Okay, well, we were challenged again this week for our Versus series. Here is the challenge video from Cranio Dad.
Hey, it's Michael Vonbank from CranioFamilyBlog.com. I'm also known as Cranio Dad. In our household, we have a constant flux between Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Daniel Tiger. So we challenge you to tell us which one is better. So take a look at Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood and Mr. Rogers and let us know which one you like more.
All right, that's right. He challenged us to watch Mr. Rogers from when I was a kid versus Daniel Tiger from, well, a little past when you were that age. I mean, Daniel Tiger's really meant for the ages 3 to 5 crowd.
Yes, I actually wrote that down in my notes.
Well, let's get into Mr. Rogers right away. Mr. Rogers started when I was a kid. Actually, I'm pretty sure it started before I was a kid. Mr. Rogers is the OG children's program guy, the original gangster. All right. Now, it starts off with the classic Mr. Rogers theme song. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful, and he sings, and he comes in the door, wouldn't you be mine? Okay. And then what does he do at the very beginning of every show? How many of these have you seen? Is this the first time you've ever seen Mr. Rogers?
Yes. First time I've ever seen Mr. Rogers.
All right, then I am failing as a parent because you should have seen much more Mr. Rogers. The problem is they don't play Mr. Rogers that much anymore, but you can find them online. And below this episode, we have the links to the show we watched. We watched Mr. Rogers Making Art in a Pot. I think it should have a better title than that. And then the one we watched for Daniel Tiger, it says Wintry Weekend or Snowflake Weekend or Getaway, but it had nothing to do with snow or snowflakes at all.
Yeah.
So I think it's mistitled. So what the episode is about, well, we'll get into that in a minute, and then you can watch that episode as well. But what did you think of Mr. Rogers? He always walks in the door, and he takes off his sport jacket, and he takes off his dress shoes.
Yeah.
He puts them away, and then he puts on his sweater, and he puts on his sneaks. His little Doc sneakers.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I thought it was very interesting because there's a whole lot of similarities between Mr. Rogers and Daniel Tigers, but also differences because the theme song is very similar, but a little bit different.
Right. They start out the same.
Yes.
Daniel Tiger starts out the same. And that's because they have taken the stuff from Mr. Rogers and put it into the new theme song. And then we'll get into Daniel Tiger's theme song on that episode. But yes, they have similarities.
Yes.
What are some of the other similarities between Daniel Tiger and Mr. Rogers?
That I noticed that whenever it starts out, they're putting on different shoes and then they throw them in the air and catch them in the other hand.
Right. Yeah, he does that. And then, won't you be my neighbor? Yeah. Okay, so there's also what vehicle is the same in all of them? In both shows. It's red. It's on
trolley.
Tracks. Trolley, okay. And trolley goes to the land of make-believe and Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Rogers usually... What were you going to say?
The make-believe land.
Okay.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, now we haven't talked about this before the show, so this is our first time talking about it.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Rogers usually starts out talking to the kids, talking to the camera. He was one of the original guys doing that to kids, like talking to you and asking you questions, which I got to tell you drives me nuts about the shows your little brother watches all the time. Mickey Mouse. Do you see it? Is it there? Where is it?
Oh, that reminds me, my friend Grant, his dad hates Mickey Mouse just because of that.
Mickey Mouse called
and
out.
shows like that.
And Blue's Clues does it too. Where is it? Where is it? It's always behind you, moron. Turn around. Just turn around. Okay, I'm done. But Mr. Rogers did it in a way that was not obnoxious. So I liked that about Mr. Rogers. Okay, he also had a very calming voice. He was very inclusive. It's okay. You're okay. You're okay. We can all be friends. We're all neighbors.
I didn't know if they didn't have enough time to shoot it and make good perfections about it, or
what do you mean?
Fixes, maybe if he did something wrong, in the beginning when he was showing his playing clay.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped the lid, said, "Oop, I dropped the lid."
No, he just says, "Oop, I dropped the lid." Yeah, I'm sure that they had different cuts of things, but sometimes you just drop something and pick it up. It's like what I do on Dad Sews. If I screw up something, I show the people I screw it up. I don't cut it out and make it perfect like everybody seems to do nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay, so he starts out talking about what's in this little container. Well, it's my play clay that I made out of flour and salt and water, which you can get that recipe online and make your own Play-Doh. It's super cool. And then, this was a little bit weird, but he's playing with this play clay, and he says, I used to play with it and make things out of it. Look, it's like a bun. Look, it's like a ball. And he said, but sometimes I would pound it.
Yeah.
And then he started singing a song about being angry, and I was like, hold up, Fred. I didn't know Fred Rogers was going to drop an angry song on us. But here's the thing about Fred Rogers. He can sing a song about being angry, and it is the least angry thing you have ever heard. He's just like, I was angry. I was mad. It makes me feel very sad. I mean, I don't know what to say. But it's just like, hey, do you feel angry? I feel angry. It's like, nobody's angry.
And you can sing along with this song if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Good vibes. Good vibes. So he was, always a smooth dude. And I've read a lot about Fred Rogers, and I don't think I've ever read anybody say a bad word about him in real life. Like a lot of times people on TV shows that seem nice and everything, they're like, yeah, but behind closed doors, that guy's a jerk. He screams and yells. He blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
Never heard that about Fred Rogers. He was just always, he loved kids. He loved teaching kids. He loved connecting people. He was awesome. He was awesome. So, and he did this show forever. Okay, so he makes this clay. He sings about being angry, and then he says, hey, we're going to go see a potter friend of mine. And then it popped in his head, which you're talking about mistakes. He's like, oh, so-and-so also works there. But anyway, we're going to go see, because the potter friend, I think he remembered, oh, man, he's supposed to pop up later. I need to pull his name out. And then he said, we're going to go and meet a guy. So what did they do?
They basically showed you a hands-on thing how to deal with clay
Right, how to use a potter's wheel.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot. So here's my mess up. Whenever he leaves the house, they pan out, and it's a train town. Right?
Oh, yes, I realized that in the beginning. That was really cool.
And yeah, it always did that when he left. You'd see his house, and then the camera would pan, and it's basically just buildings for a train table, which makes sense because he has Charlie the train and all that kind of stuff. So they do that. They go and he meets with the guy, and they do pottery. He does the pottery wheel, all that kind of stuff. They make bowls. They show kilns. And here's what I liked about it is it wasn't like some of the shows that you watch now or that Ollie watches now, where it's like, we're going to go see a potter for 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to go to the zoo for 5 minutes. All right, we're going to go do skydiving for 5 minutes. Hey, let's cram as much crap in this show as we can really, really quickly so that your brain explodes.
But also it seemed more educational because Daniel Tiger, it seems more like friendly and learning to be friends with people and being nice.
Right.
Not as like what he does. He goes and sees people like that have jobs that are really cool.
And he acts nice. He didn't have to. I mean, yes, Mr. Rogers talked about being nice and friendly and stuff like that. But here's something cool. He just treated people nice. And you didn't have to tell kids, hey, don't be jerks. Be nice. You know? And that was one of the cool things about Mr. Rogers. Every episode wasn't about a whiny little Well, we'll get to Daniel Tiger in a minute. Okay. So I really liked how it was educational. He showed you stuff. They weren't trying to squeeze in tons of stuff. It was slow. It was methodical. He showed you everything about the clay. It talked about the glaze. And here's the cool thing about this. When he opened up that kiln, which is a big box where they heat the clay.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers really went like, ooh. And he's like, all these are ones you made? Oh, or the students or teachers? Oh, man, those are lovely. And he just seemed so genuinely excited and sweet and pleased to be looking at all this stuff. And it was just like, oh, man, that doesn't even exist in the world anymore. I'm all for being funny and sarcastic.
That kind of relates to me while I was watching it. I was like, wow.
Yeah, just wow. And I'm all for being funny and sarcastic and stuff and making jokes. But I feel like all of the shows nowadays do that. Like, they can't just be genuine and in awe of something. It has to be like, oh yeah, I gotta get my line in here. Oh yeah, we went to visit this restaurant. I gotta get my line in, like donkey sauce or whatever. And it's just dumb. It's like, just be in awe of that person's job and the beauty that they create in the world. I love that. And I also love how the background music's like jazz music, like in the back with Charlie Brown's.
Yeah.
Just like doo-doo-doo-doo, wow wow, doo-doo-doo, zap-zap-low. Because jazz has been called brain music. It's good for your brain. So he comes back. He says, well, we saw the pots. And the guy also said, hey, when you come back next time, we'll show you the pot we made.
Yeah.
That was it. They didn't show it. He just went back home because it had to dry out. Then he sits down and, I never noticed that Fred was pushing the button beside him to make Charlie come out. I always thought that was somebody off stage. But I kind of saw his hand go down. Like, I don't want to do it off the screen of the camera, but his hand would go down here, and it would I could see his arm move when Charlie was moving, and then he let go, and his hand moved. So he was actually calling Charlie out himself with the button.
Oh.
That wasn't somebody else. That's just crazy to me. Like, today, there'd be like 5 guys with remote controls controlling Charlie, which is stupid. But anyway, so Charlie goes to the land of make-believe. Now, you've never seen Mr. Rogers before?
No, sir.
Okay, I am curious what you think of the land of make-believe.
I thought it was very interesting that they had humans and then puppets.
Okay, even as a kid, I thought it was weird.
But I'm dying to talk about something.
Okay, well, you go ahead. You talk about it.
Lady Elaine.
Lady freaking Elaine.
Yes, when she first popped up, it actually scared me. I jumped in my seat on the couch while I was doing this episode. It actually scared me.
Lady Elaine freaked me out.
Yes.
As a kid, and then I
put 4 exclamation marks.
So, Lady Elaine comes out in this episode, and I was like, oh, that's right, she is freaky. Like,
yeah.
She got the dark red. It's not like they were rosy red either. They were like maroon colored.
Yeah, and then her nose looked like sort of very looks like red, but sort of burnt a tiny bit.
Yeah, it was almost like they burnt the wood that they made her face out of. She was freaky from day one. Okay?
Yes.
And here's the thing. When people drink alcohol, like adults, they get rosy cheeks and red noses. So even as a kid, I always thought, is Lady Elaine drunk? I don't know. She talked weird. She did like magic spells. She took her Play-Doh, remember? And did some boomerang thing. And all of a sudden, it splattered all over the king's paintings, covering him up and destroying him. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, put her to death, king. Like, hang her, guillotine. I know, this is too dark.
She probably scares all the people in the village, in the neighborhood.
And the troll guy is a human who, like, talks like this. I'm the troll, you know?
And he just sings while he's walking over.
But he didn't have troll ears. He wasn't green. He was just a dude in a hat. And also, I found it weird, and I didn't remember this as a kid, is that the queen has like a southern accent. So the king doesn't have a southern accent. The queen, you never see a queen in a tower in a castle with a southern accent. Oh, hey, Lady Elaine, do you like the paintings we've got of the king? It's like, what? How did I not remember that as a kid? I'm southern. But I don't remember that.
Also, in Daniel Tiger's neighborhood, I don't know if it's king or prince, but there's either Prince Tuesday or...
Right, and it's King Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to some of those similarities. Anyway, she ruins the king's painting, and then it goes back to Mr. Rogers, right, in the living room, and he's like...
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll pick that up in the next episode. And I was like...
And you're like, what do you think... It was so nicely said, though. What do you think the queen told... troll guy to Lady Elaine?
Or like, just very nice, like...
Yeah.
Why do you think Lady Elaine would do that? What do you think the king is thinking with his paintings messed up? I guess we'll find out next week. It's like, oh, the show's over.
I want to find out.
Yeah, I forgot that. I forgot that it was serialized, which means like from one episode to another, things would keep going. You know, instead of like I always pull out one of our favorite cartoons, Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb had common things in each episode, but the story began at the beginning and ended at the end.
Like I'm like thinking of Supergirl, sort of like they show the beginning, what happened in the previous episode,
right? But then that can sometimes have more serialized stuff.
And then at the end, they like show find out what happened in the next episode.
Exactly.
Whoa.
That's serialized. Okay, so I forgot that Mr. Rogers was serialized. And he's like, okay, well, time to take off my sneakers, put on my shoes, put on my jacket, and get the heck out of here. And I always thought it was weird that Mr. Rogers came home, which I always figured in the afternoon, because that's when I turned it on as a kid, and then put his sneakers and sweater on, talked to us, and then put his outdoor clothes on and went back outside. And I was like, where does he go? Is this lunchtime break for him? Did he come home from work and talk to us?
I haven't thought about that.
Like, what's the deal there?
Maybe he has only a certain amount of time during the afternoon, then has to go back to work.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, does Fred have a job? All right. So anyway, that was very interesting. Okay. Now, like I said, we were supposed to be watching, I thought Snowflake Day, but I think PBS's website is a little jacked up. But it ended up being one about him playing dinosaurs and going to chime time. And then the other one was about picking strawberries, which was, I pretty much ignored the second half of the show. Okay, so the theme song uses part of Mr. Rogers, and then it goes into the Daniel Tiger one. And then Daniel Tiger repeats, "Ride along, won't you come along with me, ride along." And it's like, it's Daniel's Tiger neighborhood. Okay, so they sing kind of something, they sing the same bit as the beginning as Mr. Rogers, then they sing the other part. It just annoyed me that there's another person singing, but Daniel Tiger's always going, "Ride along." I think he says it like 3 or 4 times in the song. And it just drives me crazy. I don't know why, it just does. I don't like his voice. I don't like Daniel Tiger. Okay, so what did you think about the differences in the theme song? Do you like the original better? Do you like the new one with Daniel?
I will say I like the original one A little bit better, but it's really that Lady Lane.
Okay, but we're talking about the theme song now.
Yeah.
Not the show. Okay, so it opens up with him playing dinosaurs under a tent they made with his...
I think I like Mr. Rogers better because I've heard the Daniel Tiger one so much and like, oh, it's a little different. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so it opened up with him playing dinosaurs with his mom and Margaret, his sister. They like built a tent in the house, and then his dad comes home, rah, 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 dinosaurs. Okay.
Yeah.
Then that has nothing to do with anything for the rest of the episode. Then I also noticed that they use like, not jazz music, but more orchestral music, which is still nice, but it's also got some synthesizer in it and some, or some electric piano, something, I don't know, something different than just instruments. It's not just a regular orchestra, but it's got some other stuff. But the background music for Daniel Tiger is solid. It's better than a lot of shows. Excuse me. Okay,
yes.
So the dad comes home and says they're going to chime time, which is it his job, I guess? He works on the clocks.
Yes, he works at chime time.
Chime time is the time of day when all the clocks chime at the same time. And,
yes.
Okay. So on their way there, they stop and Charlie's waiting outside the house.
I realized what's up. They should have like maybe done something to explain why Charlie kept on being late.
Well, he wasn't the first time though, was he? They just walked out of the house.
No, he was the first time. He's like, oh, Charlie's not here. We'll just have to be patient and wait. And
I thought the first time they walked out and he was right there.
Both times.
Okay, I'll believe you, but I don't believe you. Okay, so they ride Charlie along. It's like Charlie has nothing better to do. Okay, so they ride Charlie. Ooh.
Well, he's a trolley. Like, he can't eat stuff. He can't watch TV.
Okay,
he can't.
But he's always at Daniel's house because Daniel's name is on the show.
It must be like they must have all had to study some certain language because all he does is ring.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, well, maybe they're just humoring him. Like when your little baby sister is babbling and going, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, I walked around the store yesterday with her. And I was going, that makes sense to me. And people were looking at me like, that didn't make any sense. And I'm like, yeah, she's a stupid baby. Shut up. So they get on their way to chime time. It's not ready for chime time yet. And they see that cat girl. What's her name?
Katerina Kitty Cat.
Katerina Kitty Cat. Stupid name. And her mom dancing around and having a picnic. And here's what I hate about Katerina is the random meow meows.
Oh,
she'll go, meow meow, we're just dancing today. And then she'll talk normal, 10 sentences.
Like, hi Daniel, meow meow.
Yeah, exactly. The meow meows either should go at the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentence. But no, they're random. And I don't like the random meow meows. They drive me nuts. Pick a meow meow.
I think it also is expressing her feelings. Like when she's mad, she's like, meow meow.
Well, I would like her to stop saying it right meow. Okay, so
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know, that's a bad joke. Okay, so, the other thing that drove me nuts throughout the whole episode, and he says, I like to be with my family, or...
Well, we use that with Oliver, there are different ones every episode, I guess, where they use phrases like...
like what's the one we use for Oliver?
Try new things and they might taste good.
Yeah, it was about trying new things in food because it might taste good.
Yes.
Okay, so, I've got two minds of this. One, yes, it's very helpful when you have a baby that you can sing that stupid song that.
But they always use some catchy ones, like they're stuck in your head.
Okay, that's the thing. Yes, they can be good and helpful to get your baby to try broccoli or whatever it is, but. It's also in your head forever, and it never leaves, and it drives you insane.
And eventually you might get in trouble for school for talking while the teacher's talking.
Right.
You're like, oh, dang it.
You're like, I'm sorry, but I should try new things because it might taste good. But they kept saying I like to be with my family, or I can't remember the tune. It just drove me crazy. So I guess maybe it wasn't stuck in my head that good, but they kept doing it. And every episode of Daniel Tiger's a two-parter. It's like 15 minutes of one story, 15 minutes of, it's like 12 minutes. But they keep singing that one little bit through the whole thing. Like, pick a new one. I don't know. Okay, we covered Cat saying meow meow. Then, while he's at the party, they make believe that it's a giant tea party. Okay?
Yes.
But It's already make-believe. They're cartoons.
But they were making believe that it was giant.
But
Not just
every part of the episode, part A and part B, they always do a make-believe thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like a routine at the end. Towards the end, they always do.
Because they want to copy Mr. Rogers, because he always went to the land of make-believe.
But it's not the same.
They're already in the land of make-believe. They're a cartoon. The whole point of Mr. Rogers...
They're standing up talking cats.
I know, but the whole point of... Right, Mr. Rogers he's a flesh and blood real person, and then they went to the land of make-believe. Sure, there were real people mixed with the puppets, but that was as make-believe-y as they could do at the time.
Yes.
Okay? Not that they couldn't make cartoons, but you can't crank out cartoons every week like you wanted to, probably. So, they use puppets and all that kind of stuff. But why does an already... I feel like Daniel Tiger already comes from the land of Mr. Rogers' make-believe. Then they've got to double up and do another make-believe. And whenever they do go to the land of make-believe, it's different animation. Just like in Doc McStuffins.
It's weaker.
When they do the recap of Doc McStuffins, they're like, what did we learn today? And then they remember. And
the mini episodes.
Yeah, and then the animation's even worse.
Yeah.
So they take away the CG animation and then show other animation, which they still do in computers. Anyway, so I thought that was nuts. And then the clocks didn't work right for chime time, and it was Margaret's first time for chime time.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I should see what's wrong with all these clocks. And the dad goes and fixes one single clock, and all of a sudden it works. It makes no sense. He didn't fix all the clocks.
Yeah.
He just adjusted one clock. That makes no sense. That clock should be at a different time now than all the other clocks.
For some reason, you say adjusting clock. This has nothing to do with this episode, but that reminds me of the movie Annie, the first one, where she looks at the picture on the wall and, she's drunk from taking the bath, drinking alcohol. She turns the picture so it is crooked when she actually thought it was
not Annie,
straight.
Because she was a child. You mean the woman from Annie.
The woman.
That was the most random thought you have ever had during this podcast.
Well, you said adjusting, and I was like...
You went to Miss Hannigan, drunk in a bathtub of gin, from Annie. That's a solid reference. Knuckle up for that one. Oh, wow, that's frightening. Okay, so then they cut to the new episode, or the second part of the episode, and they... I don't know. They want to go strawberry picking, and while they're on the trolley song, the travel on trolley, whatever that song is, then they have to crowbar in and squeeze in some strawberry part of the song. Like, we're going to do strawberries. And it doesn't even fit because the word strawberry is too big. Okay. Okay, now here's the thing.
Yes.
Now we're back to Lady Elaine. Miss Elena is his friend.
Yes.
Okay, and now when I first saw Daniel Tiger with your little brother, I thought, is that supposed to be Lady Elaine? Did Lady Elaine now turn into a little black girl that looks like your sister? That looks like Mia? And then I looked it up online because her mom's white and her dad's black, right?
Yes.
They're a mixed up family like us, which is awesome. And then I looked up and I said, who's her mom's name? So I looked it up online.
I thought, that's what I was thinking because she had blonde hair, but...
and her voice is similar. So I said, is that Lady Elaine? And it is. That's crazy Lady Elaine. The puppet with the red nose and the red cheeks is the normal looking Lady Elaine. That's her name on the show, Lady Elaine.
I know I might be going too far with this, but I hope I don't have nightmares tonight.
She is freaky, that puppet, right?
Yeah.
It's freaky. Okay, so some people are freaked out by puppets, by the way. But, I mean, if you're going to be freaked out by a puppet, be freaked out by Lady Elaine. So it turns out Lady Elaine is Miss Elaine's daughter. No, Miss Elena's. Yeah.
Yes.
Why does he call her Miss Elena?
Maybe I don't even know.
Why does Daniel Tiger, who is her age, call her Miss Elena? I could see calling the Prince. Because
maybe it's from the book The Secret Garden. It has nothing to do with this, but they call her Mistress Mary.
Will you do this? Blah, blah, blah. That's an adult, they call that. She's not an adult. She's a kid.
She is a kid.
Oh, she is a kid? Oh, yes. Okay. So it makes no sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Just call her Elena. Why? You already have Lady Elaine. Why is it? It just doesn't make sense to me. If you understand why it is, leave it in the comment section below. I would like to read it. Couldn't find online why she's called a Miss. And it's not Miss Kitty Cat. It's not Mr. Daniel Tiger. Ugh, just drive me nuts. But the fact that Lady Elaine is still in the cartoon, I was like, they're trying to do a voice that's similar to Lady Elaine's voice, but not like so harsh and haunting as Lady Elaine. But anyway, okay. They did a Caterpillar Imagination song with caterpillars eating strawberries. Who cares? Another imagination song, and they do write 2 new songs every episode. That's kind of cool, and they have different music, even though that other one runs through the show. It has the same exact tune, but it's a mini earworm. But they do write different songs, and I like this show, and I don't hate the show. My son Ollie Mack, who's 3, he loves Daniel Tiger, and it teaches him things, and you can use the stupid vegetable song on him. I'm appreciative of that. But in other episodes of Daniel Tiger, and luckily this wasn't the case, Daniel Tiger can be a whiny little brat.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way.
You talking about the songs, like the songs at the end of every episode with the make-believe stuff.
Right. They have
with all that,
songs.
I should probably stop doing this, but that reminds me of Bill Nye the Science Guy when they do these crazy songs at the end, like they mix the song with the object they're talking about, and they're like
crazy references today.
Blah blah blah.
Crazy references. You'll still never do better than Miss Hannigan getting drunk in a bathtub again. Okay, so which is great for the kids watching, by the way. Good job, Chris.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So, but a lot of times Daniel Tiger is a whiny little brat, and they have to kind of rein him in. And what was cool or not so cool is I was online, okay, and I read this article and said, people are tired of Daniel's mom always being perfect. So they're going to make an episode where she actually kind of loses her stuff on Daniel and yells at him and then has to apologize. But she yells at him just go to bed. He kept wanting to stay up from bed and drink water, keep getting up. And she's like, you don't need any water. Just go to bed. And I read and I was like, oh, we've got to find this episode. That's the episode I want to watch for the podcast. And I sent it to your mom and she was like, that would be an awesome episode. And then I found out that article was a prank, that they were never going to do that. And I was like, why not do that? Why not show mom being real for once on Daniel Tiger? I know it was a prank article that somebody wrote, but just go ahead and do that for real. Show mom getting mad. I get mad at you guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes too much. Sometimes it's deserved, because of stuff. So, but when I do get mad and it's not deserved, what do?
You tell us to do better and
no, what do
stop
I do
doing
for
the thing.
me when I get mad and I shouldn't?
Oh, you calm down and you apologize?
I apologize. I try to, at least.
Yes.
And why not have Daniel's mom just lose her cool one day with Daniel and then have to apologize? That's real, and that's awesome.
But, maybe for, the little kids that are watching, maybe, make things that happen to her that are really bad, and then she gets frustrated.
Yeah,
so she has a reason.
Yeah, probably never shows up on time. She's got to walk to the store. Daniel's being a whiny little jerk.
And then maybe some monkeys are playing at the park, and she slips on one. She's like, dag nabbit. And she's just having a bad day.
She slips on a monkey.
No, slips on a banana peel.
The banana. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so I just want to know one thing. Daniel Tiger is a tiger.
Yes.
The kitty cat's a cat. There's an owl. But then there's just humans roaming around. Like Miss Elena and Lady Elaine and the prince and the king. When is Daniel Tiger going to go all Siegfried and Roy and attack the humans? That's what I want to know. He's a tiger, dang it! He is a tiger. Tigers eat people.
Maybe it's like Zootopia where they don't eat each other.
But there's not humans in that.
Yeah.
I just want to see Daniel Tiger go like maybe his dad, that's what he brings home for food and they'll never show it. Is that
but they're eating maybe one day they're eating chicken nuggets. There has to be one episode they're eating something that's meat and they're like, we're eating chickens and we don't eat cats and other animals like that. I've never tried owl before.
I know one thing. A tiger would destroy a cat and eat it. And probably a human if he saw it. Okay, so the final song, he takes his shoes and his sweater off.
Yes, and throws it in the hand catch. Blah, 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 blah.
So what was Daniel Tiger left wearing? If he took off his shoes and he took off his sweater. What does Daniel Tiger...
He never wears pants, too.
So what was Daniel Tiger wearing at the end of the episode? as he's unbuttoned or
he was
unzipping his sweater.
naked, but he probably never shaves.
I know, but I'm just saying, he's a tiger that walks around in clothes, around humans that are in clothes. So technically, at the end of every episode, he gets naked. And I think he goes and eats a human being. Okay, so, but it does show the kids learning, and I am a fan of that than showing the kids learning. But I would rather watch the end piece from Daniel Tiger. After he takes off his sweater and his shoes and gets naked and goes and murders people. I'm sorry, kids, for watching. Then it cuts to a guy in real life cutting to a kid and talking about dinosaurs.
This one, they did a kid going to a museum with dinosaurs. I also noticed...
Which makes sense because they talked about dinosaurs for like 3 minutes of the video.
Yeah, it just stood out to me when they were walking through this part and they were talking about their bigger bones. I saw dinosaur dung. There was like a fossil.
You saw dinosaur poop?
Yes.
Awesome. There's nothing wrong with a big pile of dinosaur poop. So, okay. So, here we go. A rating, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. How would you rate Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers, I would rate a 7.
A 7.
Or 7.5.
If Lady Elaine the puppet wasn't in it, what would you rate it?
I would rate it probably a 9.
So Lady Elaine
that
lost 2.5 points, so that's a 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say that I can't vote against Mr. Rogers. I've got to give him. I want to give him a perfect 10, but I'm gonna give him a 9 because Lady Elaine is freaky.
Yes.
She is nightmare fuel. Okay, 1 to 10. Now I know it's not for your age range, but I can't have this conversation with Ollie Mac because he's 3 and he's dumb. He's not dumb, but he can't have a conversation with me about it. So what would you rate Daniel Tiger from 1 being the worst, 10 being the best?
To be honest, I would rate it maybe a 6.5.
So you would rather watch Mr. Rogers?
Even though that
I think
Lady
6.5 is right on for Daniel Tiger. I think you're off on Mr. Rogers, but I understand. So you would say 7.5 for Mr. Rogers. I'd say 9.
Maybe
so
with the
winner.
Mr. Rogers, I'll pull it up into an 8.
But Lady Elaine.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. A child born in the 2000s would rather watch Mr. Rogers than Daniel Tiger. So here's my advice to PBS. Not that they're asking for it, but maybe throw on Mr. Rogers with Daniel Tiger, not instead of. Can't we have both? Can't we all just get along? That stuff that that Mr. Rogers did was timeless, right? They still make pottery. So who cares if that was 30 years ago when they filmed it? They still make pottery. They don't show him getting in cars. So nothing's going to be like, oh, that's a car from 30 years ago.
That's a cool experience. I would like to go make clay on a potter's wheel. That's cool.
Of course. And all of that, none of that mattered. Now, could you cut out the puppets? Sure. Why not just cut out the puppets and just disappear the land of make-believe? Or here's a great idea I have, okay?
Yes.
Show the first half of Mr. Rogers. And then when Trolley disappears, have Daniel Tiger come on for their 12-minute segment. All right, everybody, thank you for watching this episode. Thank you for joining Carlin and I all year for all of our episodes of the What Are We Watching podcast. We are going on probably an extended winter break with Christmas coming up and the winter season, and we will come out with another season of the What Are We Watching podcast next year in 2017. So, Carlin, what would you like to say to people who watched us and the people that you spoke to at the podcast convention? What would you like to say to our fans online?
I would like to say thank you for watching and maybe tell...
listening,
and maybe tell other people about it so maybe we can get some more viewers and listeners.
Yeah, definitely. We're on iTunes, and the easy way to find us is to go to whatarewewatching.com/iTunes. It takes you right to the iTunes page, and you can look us up on YouTube, What Are We Watching Podcast. We will see you and talk to you later. Bye-bye.
This production is brought to you by the Plaid Dad Blog Podcast Network. For more information, visit us at plaiddadblog.com.